Okay, so this message, I'm going to try cut it short and sweet. But usually, when I get certain comments and I think that instead of going back and forth in conversation with the person, it's just better from these things. Me too. I just learned from this too as well. Just, or maybe not learn, but also just be reminded. So, fortunately and unfortunately, we when we come into the world, we experience who we are not in order to understand who we are. It is one of the best ways for you to understand who you are, because it's always in question, like, who am I? You know who you are by who you are not. And a lot of times when we come into this world, because if you're still breaking the generational curses, then if you hear your parents would have continued the generational curses, right? So then it becomes up to you to be able to break them in your own particular way, your unique way in which you're going to, heal. And because they lost their childhood and they didn't have a childhood, so they can't fully understand what a childhood is to a certain degree, they would just simply, it's like monkey see, monkey do, regurgitate what they learned from their parents. And then also in that, there's a slight competition that a parent can have with you. And what that also builds is certain resentment because of the life that they could never have and now they have to give to you. And obviously it's dependent on how you came um onto this earth, or how you were, yeah, your the initial intention and how it all came about. So unfortunately, because the patriarchy system is very linear, it has a right and wrong. So it has a system on purpose as well. So the unfolding and the folding of the divine feminine, which is non-linear, often gets sort of pushed to the side, but it's a force so strong that it's going to come through no matter what. That's why we have panel discussions, we have arguments, we have deep talks and conversations, because our heart knows something different to what we are seeing and experiencing in the world. And it goes back to what I said, you have come to understand who you are through who you are not. So your greatest gift is your pain. And in that, through the parents with the resentment and the certain competition that they had with you, whether it was overt or not, there would be like this right or wrong in the way in which you would gain their love and affection or validation, right? So you started learning according to whether it pleased them as to how they, to a certain degree, wanted to control their love and affection that they were going to receive because they didn't receive it. Then you think that there's a right and wrong, like that it's not right, that it's not good enough um, that you did it. So with all this said, just some context from the context is open yourself to understanding that there is a right and there is a wrong, and it's going to vary according to each individual and according to each circumstance. And that's where divine feminine energy comes in, because it's non-linear. There's so many facets to a particular thing that we view. It's like everyone can be in a particular room and everybody's going to see the room in a different way. Like you're going to pick up different things according to what your frequency is attuned to, right? So there is no right and wrong. I personally say the only right and wrong that will exist across the board is if you are physically harming somebody, and verbally trying to harm them, and abuse, any form of abuse, any abuse of something for me is like a no-no. That's when there's a definite right and wrong. There's no doubt about that. But if it's in conversation and we're learning, you must understand that we don't know what we don't know, and we do know what we do know. So when we come into these conversations, it's not about telling you that you're wrong, because this is your part of your journey. And in your journey, you just like taking notes. It's like going to a garage and you're asking for directions. No one can come and tell you shouldn't go to the place. Do you understand? You already know where you want to go. Now you get to take the driving seat and go, who's going to help me get there? Um, so there is no right and wrong. So let's just soften around having to be correct, because it strips away from our ability to like make mistakes or fail forward, and to understand that making mistakes and failing forward is play. That's discovery. There's that huge gap between perfection and ideation. So ideation comes, and then you want this perfect way in which it's going to come. And then often what you would do is um, you would stop yourself because it's not perfect. So in this space, in these conversations, allow yourself room to just simply explore. And if I say with these certain messages that I have, if something doesn't resonate, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or right, or your view of it is wrong or right, or my of it is wrong or right. It just simply means that this is not going to help you get to where you are going. So don't force it. Do you know what I mean? It's just taking that ease to say there's no point in arguing. It's just saying I need directions to where to go. And perhaps maybe on our journeys, often sometimes we don't know where we want to go, but we just know that we want to get out of where we are. And through that experience, that more discomfort that comes with it, the more clarity comes with it, because it's through the alchemy and through the pressure that you feel that you understand the pain and turn that into beauty. So, in conversations, let's not try to dictate that someone is wrong unless there is physical abuse or emotional or verbal abuse on someone. Then we can advocate for that. But if we're just having a normal conversation, if we're getting to know one another, you don't need to correct me. I don't need to correct you. This is your personal journey. This is my personal journey. And you telling me your discoveries, because that's what it is. When we connect, we're going, what have you learned on your journey? What have you seen? What are your discoveries? Do you understand? It's not you have to have gone here on this discovery. You have to have taken this journey. You have to have gone here. You are wrong. You shouldn't have. It's not that. And I think that's what the patriarchy sort of does. And then the matriarchy allowing also divine feminine energy with just non-linear, we explore with play now. And that's why we can allow our artistic expressions to come through. We can allow our storytelling to come through, because it's our experience. Only we get to validate what we experienced. Okay. So I hope this just helped to soften certain aspects of when you are feeling triggered of that right and wrong, and just sort of like where it comes from. Okay.